I was driving home one night. I drive a truck for Walmart and had an 8-hour drive ahead of me. I wasn't planning on stopping, but tiredness hit me like a ton of bricks and I knew that I had to find a motel. There was a quiet motel just off the highway that was signposted a couple of miles back, so I turned off and pulled up into the parking lot. There was one car parked outside the manager's office, presumably the manager's car. I parked in the truck stop and headed inside. It was quite old and antique-y looking. The man behind the desk looked like he had just woken up, bags under his eyes, scruffy beard and glasses. He just looked at me as I approached. It was weird. He didn't say anything, just looked. This felt like it went on for ages, but it was just a few awkward seconds. Hi, I finally said. Could I get a room, please? He reached onto the wall behind him and took down a key. It was to room 35. $40. Last one at the end, he said suddenly, in a gruff voice. I thanked him and went on my way. He was clearly having a bad night, so I left swiftly enough. I headed to the room at the end. I opened the door and went in. The room seemed quite clean, albeit a little basic, but a little shut-eye was all I needed. I got myself ready for bed and hopped in. I turned the light off. I was awoken by a banging on the door. I then heard running footsteps that seemed to be getting further away from the door, as if somebody was pranking me and running away. I went over to the window to check anyway. I couldn't see anything but my truck in the parking lot. It was then that the most terrifying thing happened. The closet door opened behind me, and a dark shape leapt out and grabbed me. I screamed and struggled against the stranger's grip. He was holding my chest and my arms tight against my body. I tried my hardest to fight him off and maybe get to the phone. I didn't really know what to do. I was fearing for my life, so I just tried to make as much noise as possible. It worked. He let go of me and bolted out the door. He disappeared down towards the highway and I rang the police. The man had clearly been hiding in my closet from before I had entered the room. The craziest thing is that when the police arrived, they could have sworn that the place wasn't open. One of the officers said that he figured that the motel had been closed for a couple of years. When we went to check it out with the manager, he was nowhere to be found. Was he a part of what happened? I didn't know, but I was so sure to get the hell out of there and make a vow to never stay in quite so secluded a motel ever again. And always check the closets. I was staying in a motel on the edge of the woods. I had been hiking all day and needed a place to rest. I was thinking bed with wine and a good book. Might sound boring to some, but to me it was heaven. I was walking back along the trail and there was a man walking by himself about 100 yards in front of me. He was the first person that I'd seen all day. He stopped and turned to look in my direction. He smiled and waved. Nothing weird about that. Nice to see a fellow nature enthusiast, so I reciprocated. The man turned left and walked into the wilderness. I continued on towards my motel room, which was about another mile down the hill. It was at this moment, as I was walking, that I felt like I was being watched. Probably paranoia, as it was the first time that I fully realised that I was alone. So I just continued on, pushing those thoughts to the back of my mind. I got to the door of my motel room and found my key. I unlocked the door and turned on the light. The man from earlier was sitting on my bed in his underwear. He was holding a camera. My whole body started to shake. I could feel a panic attack coming on. Get out of my room, what the fuck are you doing? The man looked a bit shocked. I thought this is what you wanted, considering how you looked at me out there, he said. I told him I was only being friendly, and he completely got the situation wrong, but he refused to move. He sat there calling me hard to get. Eventually I had to call the security at the motel and they removed him. He kept telling them that we were lovers and just had a spat. I've never been more freaked out or uncomfortable in my life. Needless to say, I locked the door and kept to my room for the night, and I got the hell out of there the next morning.